going on, guys? Today I'm going to be playing The Monster Inside, a visual novel. So yeah, it's another Free Friday video. I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get right into this. Yeah, so this is The Monster Inside. So yeah, it's a visual novel, like I said, and we're gonna start from the beginning. Notice my camera is down here. That's so that I'm not blocking the view. My head pounded. Ears still ringing slightly. Some of the worst nightmares I'd had in years left me feeling like I'd been punched in the jaw. But just like any other day, I dragged myself to the office. I guess I'm gonna come through there. There was another notice on the door from Mayor Vanetti's office. Permits out of date. They didn't like me much and were trying to drown me in paperwork. It was a slow week, since I'd had any real case to work on. So I passed the time pacing the office, smoking and staring at the mirror in the corner, safely covered with an old bedsheet. I don't dare look at my own reflection. I'm too afraid of what I might see. Afraid someday I might have to face what I really am. The girl came in so quiet I nearly choked on my cigarette. Girl, mister, please! You gotta help me, mister. Calm down now, sit and talk slowly. Yeah, what can I help you with? You ever hear of knocking first? Calm down, sit and talk slowly. Okay, thanks. It's just no one will listen to me. Just tell me your tale. I'm listening. She eyed me with just a dash of suspicion as I tossed back a hand full of pills and chased them with a swig of whiskey. I could tell this might take a while. Her name was Lily. She told me she was his mistress. The man all over this newspaper, the infamous banker, Mr. Reginald Farnsworth. Mr. Farnsworth was a drunk, philandering bastard, but this girl seemed genuinely concerned that he'd recently gone missing. Less concerned about the fact that Mr. Farnsworth's wife had just turned up dead in Central Park 2 nights ago. You don't understand. He just couldn't have done it. He hated his wife, but he couldn't have killed her. Everyone thinks it was him, and no one believes me. He's gotta be in trouble. I ain't saying I believe you, but what makes you think he's in danger? Case looks pretty simple to me. Well, Mr. Jack. You can just call me Jack. Jack, whoever did that to his wife must have been the one who took him. He would have never left without me. He promised me. That's just bullshit. Sorry, but come on. He lied. I'm sure Mr. Farnsworth promised this poor little girl a lot of things. Please, the cops won't listen to me, and they want to bring him on charges. You gotta prove it wasn't him before they find him. Honestly, I doubt they're in too much of a hurry. Farnsworth had practically the entire police force in his deep pockets. Probably why they hadn't found much yet. If they found him and brought him in, it would be due to public pressure. Sometimes a mob with pitchforks is more dangerous than one man with money. You've got my curiosity, but might not like what I find. I can help you. We'll get to the bottom of this, don't you worry. I'll tell her it's straight I'll tell her it's straight. Oh, thank you, Mr. Jack. Thank you, but please be careful. I don't think this was any murder or kidnapper. I think it was a beast. A beast. The word struck me funny. Like when you jar your elbow on a hard corner. Not a word many use these days except in hushed whispers and bedtime stories for children. Oh, they were really enough, alright. They just got better at hiding. Oh, they were real enough, alright. They just got better at hiding, controlling their unseemly urges, but I hadn't seen any monsters in nearly 15 years, back when I was still a cop myself. Well, that's definitely an interesting theory. I can help you. We'll get to the bottom of his, don't you worry, theory. I just have a feeling about it. Something tells me you can get to the bottom of it. You're good at this sort of thing. Sure, can't you see how busy I am with cases? I replied a little too harshly. Sarcasm wasn't my strong suit. I reassured her with some more, and sent her on her way. I didn't want to scare her, but I warned her before she left to keep her doors locked and call me if she saw anything suspicious. I didn't know if she was in any danger herself, but better safe than sorry. That night, I made my way down to Central Park. It was a long shot, but maybe there was something there the cops had missed. Next chapter. Alright, we're in the second chapter. The scene was already picked clean by the cops days ago, but I've got a knack for finding the things overlooked. This is the body. A knack more of a symptom of a condition. Other, less useful symptoms I kept in check, but for the time being my keen sense of smell would come in handy. It was faint, but I could smell it before I even approached the police line. The scent was less of a sting and more of an emotion. Seduction. A strangely familiar scent. I expected the scent of trepidation or maybe even outright fear, but Mr. Farnsworth seemed to have been at the height of pleasure when he left his world. She brought new meaning to a crime of passion. Pushing the thought from my mind, it was time to get down to business. Investigate the scene. Well, muddy footprints everywhere. Difficult to pick out anything from the footprints the cops left behind in their haste. But cops don't wear $2,000 pairs of Carcanals. It looked like Mr. Farnsworth was there that night and walked away on his own 2 feet. A burn mark on a nearby tree caught my eye. I ran my finger along its length and felt a chill down my spine. Let's check this. This wasn't just a burn mark. This was the mark of an ancient magic. It's doubtful the cops would have picked up on it. Could Lily have been right? Something unnatural was at play here. But I was no stranger to the strange. After looking around for a while longer, I realized the park had given up all it was hiding from me. So I trudged back to my apartment and hit my head. My head hit the pillow like it owed me money. Next chapter. The next morning, I was reeling from another bout of ghoulish nightmares, but I tried to hide my discomfort when I saw Lily was already sitting outside my office. She waited wordlessly as I unlocked the door and ripped down another notice from the mayor's office. I motioned for her to step inside, seemingly afraid of what it might see. She finally worked up the courage to ask, "So what did you find?" "Well, I've got some good news. Miss Farnsworth might still be alive. Not sure about beasts, but something unnatural is at play. Might be right to worry about monsters. Found a spell mark." "Unnatural? How do you mean?" "A spell mark rarely seen these days was, but unmistakable. I can't give you details, but I'm looking into it." "What does that mean? What about Reggie? Do you know where he might be?" "Found his footprints. Seems like he got out safely. There were signs he was at the scene and slipped away." My tone was indifferent towards her as I turned and grabbed a bottle from my desk drawer. A dryness in my throat made it difficult to swallow my medicine. "But you don't know where he went. Do you think the news this morning was related?" "What news is this?" "Haven't you heard?" "Yeah, but you should still tell me what you knew." "Nope, rough night, followed by a rough morning." "They found the police chief's wife dead down by the docks. They say it happened last night." "Let me guess, Chief Amato is missing too." My face might have betrayed a hint of satisfaction as she confirmed my suspicion, but it faded quickly. Amato was a shit cop and a shit chief. He was half the reason I left the force, but now his wife was dead and I had more questions than I did the day before. The gears in my head started to spin, which wasn't helped by the splitting pain in my temples. I told Lily I need time to work, and she left slightly dejected, wanting more answers than I could prove. That night after the cops had cleared out of the docks, I would slip down and see what I could uncover concerning Mr. Amato's untimely demise. Next chapter. The cold air smelled strongly of salt and oil, and could it be? The smell again, like someone had bottled pure arousal and used it as perfume. It hit me like a long-forgotten memory, but the sensual fumes soon gave way to a rush of adrenaline. I knew exactly what the scent reminded me of, and that scared me more than not knowing. I looked down at my hands shaking, the nightmares, the headaches. No, I was better now, reformed. I had to focus, no jumping to conclusions, follow the evidence. I have to investigate the scene. Red Phoenix cigarettes, same shitty brand I smoke every day. Everyone's got their vice. There, just there, the smallest piece of purple fabric, torn and caught in the splinters of a board. What a great game. It's so interesting, like a little crime investigation and a little bit of mystery and magic. The police report didn't say anything about Mr. Amato wearing purple, and it was certainly of a quality that you wouldn't expect down here. Don't see too many high society types around flaunting royal purple threads. I pulled out my own pack of reds and lit up. I could already feel another headache coming on. but looking out over the waves seemed to help me forget. The cold helped me push down the uncomfortable thoughts that had been bubbling to the top of my brain. I wonder what these thoughts are. Next chapter. Like, they could be anything. I honestly don't remember the walk back to my office. Apparently, I spent the night in my easy chair, and the air from the dock lingered on my clothes. It was still dark out. No, I checked the clock. How long had I been out? Had I really slept through the entire next day? A newspaper was sitting under the door. As I stood to fetch it, I nearly fell over. A wave of nausea hit me like a ton of bricks. I steadied myself and regained my composure. Before I even picked up the paper, I could already read the headline. Breaking news, mayor missing, wife found dead. 2 cases is a coincidence, 3 is a pattern. The cops would come asking questions soon. They knew I had a history of agonizing all the victims. I stumbled to my desk and slammed back 3 days worth of inhibitor pills. I couldn't take any chances. I had to investigate the scene to be sure. I threw on my jacket and went to the door. Lily caught me off guard on the other side.
Jack, where are you off to? I've been trying to reach you all day.
I'm sorry, Lily, but I don't think I have time to talk to you. I have to go. I've just been busy. I'm off to Mr. Vanetti's crime scene.
Okay, but we need to talk when you get back. Stay safe.
She gave me a soft kiss on the cheek as I rushed off. Part of me wanted to stay and tell her it would be okay, but it would be a lie. Next chapter.
This is great. Who wrote this? I love this.
The alley was located just behind the high-rise apartments where Mr. Mayor Vanetti and his wife lived. I could tell the cops were spooked now. The crime scene was even sloppier than the last. They hadn't even bothered to submit the trash into evidence.
This music is good too.
Investigate the scene. Let's check the trash. Why wouldn't they at least look through the dumpster? It seemed untouched. No one wants to do the dirty work. But I know how to find the good stuff. It really doesn't take long if you know what to look for. Lightweight bags usually mean someone was dumping documents. If you were lucky, they didn't bother to shred them. Jackpot. Shell companies, shady stock trades, bribes. I knew Mayor Vanetti was a crook. This was unbelievable. And there was more. Letters between Mayor Vanetti and Chief Amato talking about me. How they were trying to get me shut down. They didn't like me snooping around crime scenes all the time. Well, they weren't here to stop me snooping around this one. Vanetti's car. If he's still alive, why wouldn't he have left in his car? It didn't make any sense. I honestly wasn't too motivated to find him, but the stakes were too high, and my bet was edging towards the unthinkable. As I searched around for anything that might assuage my fear, I caught the scent again. It overwhelmed me, other senses with undulating pleasure. It was intoxicating. A weapon used on a weak-willed. A weapon I knew all too well, though it had been many years since I had used it.
So is this a woman or a man? Well, I mean, it's a man, I think. Oh, his name's Jack. But who's doing this? Is it him? It could be him. Or it could be the mayor and Mr. Vanetti. I mean, the police chief and I forget his name. Was there another like me? Was I being framed?
It wasn't possible, was it? I was taking my inhibitors. I was reformed. But the nightmares, the headaches, the memory lapses, I couldn't even trust myself. I started walking back out the alley when something shiny caught my eye. A watch. Not just any watch, though. My watch. How long had my wrist been bare? Surely I just dropped it when I came down the alley. I checked the time just before I left the office, hadn't I? Or had I used the wall clock? I couldn't be sure. I couldn't be sure of anything, so I ran. He did it. I don't know why I ran back to my office. The cops would probably show up any minute to knock the door down and cart me away. They would put it together before long. Maybe it would be best for everyone if I simply faced my own reflection. But Lily was still there, waiting for me.
Jack, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost.
My ghost come back to haunt me from the past.
You're not making any sense, Jack. Come, sit down.
You don't understand. You're not safe around me. I took a good last look at her as I prepared to shove her out the door. I noticed she was wearing the same thing she had when she first came to my office 3 days ago. A beautiful purple dress. Odd that I hadn't really noticed before, but it made her seem out of place, out of time. And it was frayed around the edges, torn in places. My chair caught me, my fall as my knees failed me. It was you. You are the monster, Succubus.
Oh, Jack, we are one and the same, you and I. We are both monsters. I'm simply more honest with myself. There's no such thing as a reformation. Those pills you take only make you dull. Beasts like us should have never suppressed our true natures as you have, Incubus. Those men were probably dead too now, I figured. She probably took them to her lair and harvested their seed. So you've done all this just to wake me up? You could say that. Though, it seemed enough just to have you doubt yourself. You believed you were still capable of such horrors, which means deep down you probably are. You can't escape it. Now I need you to complete the deed.
You took my watch, messed with my head.
Oh, don't act like I didn't do you a favor. Those men hated you and wanted you gone. Now they're gone.
I mustered the strength to stand again, moving casually to the window by the corner. She was right about one thing. I was dull, weak compared to her. If I refused her and she attacked me, I was a dead man. I had to keep her talking. I've never met a succubus who seduces and kills women.
Oh, please. Such a 14th century stereotype. I don't discriminate when it comes to pleasure of the flesh. But I do still need an incubus, like yourself, to take the tainted seed I've harvested from those awful men and plant it among the fertile masses for me. I'm tired of draining my lovers just to survive. I'm ready to settle down and start a family. Ha 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 ha. That maniacal laughter. I positioned myself carefully, making sure she was looking my direction. Sorry, but I'm not your guy. With a quick flick of the wrist, I whipped the old bed sheet off of the corner mirror. Lily was blinded by her own reflection and sucked into the mirror with a painful monstrous scream. Trapped. Shielding my own eyes, I pulled a revolver from my desk side drawer, aimed it at the mirror, and fired. What the hell? Story programming by Tyler Owens. Art by Doug Archibald. Wow. So it was her all along. And he was a monster too. That's so cool. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Jackson Droid checking out. Peace. Oh yeah, but before I go, you gotta remember, it's time to rate. And as you know, we have a 3-point system. First is visuals. Second is if the game does what it's supposed to. And third is a rating for enjoyment. So, first, visuals. Very interesting use of visuals. Actually, it's an audio-visual novel. So, I'm going to have to give it a 9 out of 10. I enjoyed the visual style. It's great. But at the same time, I think it could have been so much more. You know, because, like... Hold on. Because, look. The Monster Inside is a really good title. And I was expecting just a bit more content to it. You know? Like, I mean, that's great and all, but it could have been better. If we're giving it a rating for what it says it's going to do and what the game is, The Monster Inside, it's talking about that. And it's to do with scene investigation, and it's a visual audio novella. So yeah, 10 out of 10. And if we're talking about content and enjoyment you can get out of it, content, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I'm sorry, a 7 out of 10, because it could be so much longer. I mean, it's long enough, but it could be a lot longer. I understand it's a free game. It's a really good game, but it could just be a bit longer. And last but not least, my little Jack scoring. I love this game, so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 altogether, which gives us, out of 40, that gives us a 34 out of 40. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Jackson Droid checking out. Peace. Try to be a negative bull, yeah. We could be taking control if we try to believe in anything greater than a miracle. It wouldn't be this difficult if we try to be a negative bull, yeah. We could be taking control.